The following is a presentation of the Texas 24/7 Television Network. Let's go! Saints Nation. The 2018 Saints football season is here. The Texas 24/7 Television Network proudly presents the Aaron Beck Coaches Show with head coach of the Fort Worth All Saints, Aaron Beck.
Touchdown, Saints, to put the icing on his cake.
Into the end zone, touchdown, Saints.
Now, with the coach, here's Ken Buckner.
Welcome back, Saints Nation. Week number 2 edition is here of the Aaron Beck Coaches Show, live and on demand here at the Texas 24/7 Television Network. I'm your host, back again, Ken Buckner, and with me on the line, as always, it is the head coach, athletic director, and assistant head of school there at Fort Worth All Saints Episcopal School. Ladies and gentlemen, hello, Coach Aaron Beck.
Ken, how are you doing, man?
We're good. Hey, we got one in the books, and we're rolling right along in the 2018 campaign.
That was quite an adventure, and I'm telling you, it was more tiring, believe it or not, pulling that game off last week than it was to open up in Philly the year before. You know, losing the game with Garfield, and then you know, for an hour and a half, we had a game scheduled with Cornerstone out of San Antonio, and we couldn't pull that together. And so Brian Hercules, who books games for us, found us a team out of Broward County. And, man, what an adventure they had. They took the bus here.
Wow.
And we had some really nice things set up for them. The Lockhart family was going to host them to Joe T. Garcia's. We had some things at TCU scheduled, and the bus broke down, and you know, we had to accommodate them on the fly. But I've never met a group of kids that were so nonplussed by any of the things that happened to them on the way here. And even the bus was late picking them up to get out of here, to head back.
Oh, goodness.
So, but, you know, their coach was delightful. Their kids were extremely athletic. Watching them warm up during the day, I thought, holy cow, we don't have anybody on our team. And we got some pretty fast guys that could keep up and attract me with the bunch out of Florida. But anyway, we got out of there with a win, and it was not without a cost. I mean, we paid a heavy price for that win. A couple of our kids, you know, T. Laughlin, we've lost for the year, and that's just heart-wrenching. You know, T went through that as sophomore year, and then to have that happen to you, your first game, you know, it's just sometimes the older I get, the harder this game is. It's rhetorical. You hear it all the time. Coaches say, boy, you better enjoy, if you're lining up to play, you better not just enjoy the game, you better enjoy the snap, because the game of football is so unforgiving, and so much work goes into it in the off season in preparation during the week for games, that when one of our student athletes gets hurt right out of the blocks, you know, it's devastating. And you know, Jack Taylor got hurt as well, Nico Adams, mild concussion, and he's out. Jack, you know, we're kind of week to week on him right now, and trying to nurse him back to health. Nico, I hope will be back on the field for us in a couple of weeks. So we were able to manage through this week, and we'll still start, you know, 22 people Friday night. We've got some guys that now will step up and slide into roles, and you know, it's a game of the next guy up.
Right.
And so while now, you know, Jack was just an excellent team captain this week, and he coached from the field. I parked him in my golf cart one day. You know, T still, you know, he's rehabbing, trying to get ready for surgery. So he's been taking care of that this week. But Nico and Jack have been, you know, very helpful, and that's what happens once you're like Trent Barron last year. You know, lost his senior season, I think, in week 2. And the Trent, you know, never missed practice, became a great coach. And I know Jack will be doing the same until we get him back on the field, as well as Nico. And anyway, here we go. The game 2.
Here we go. Yeah, and we will preview coming up a little bit later on in the Aaron Beck Coaches Show that week number 2 matchup against Austin Regent School, a formidable opponent. I mean, the talent level certainly jumps up as it does every single week, it looks like, throughout this season. And also coming up on the Aaron Beck Coaches Show, we'll take a dive into a very, very interesting conversation with Angela Corman, the college advisor there that helps not just the student athlete, but every one of the students there at All Saints get to the next level and really fulfill their journey and their dreams too. So that coming up. But before we look ahead, let's go back to the 48-12 victory over the International School of Broward Pumas out of the Miami area. You mentioned, the odyssey that they took and really the Saints took in getting this all together. But ultimately, it was a victory. In many ways, it was also very much a week number 1 game. We talked about last week on the Coaches Show, you were looking for specific personnel groups and some consistency, but there's always the fight for consistency in a week 1 game. The penalties are always going to be there in the first week. What was your general takeaways for your Saints from the game over the Pumas?
Well, I'm going to start out with our quarterback, Clark Tillman. I was really pleased and excited about his performance. He threw 6 touchdowns. I think he threw for 2 more 2-point conversion completions. No interceptions, which is huge. For an all-things team, we did not have that many offensive plays. I mean, really, it was I think somewhere in the mid-50s, which is typically we'll average in the 70s. But the game went on forever. It's a very, very long game. I'm going to talk about a lot of kids today, but happy with Clark. Jacob Matlock, I thought was off to a really good game, but every time he would bust one, it seemed like the laundry flew. And I know he rushed for about 100 yards actually, even though only 39 or right around 40 were registered. But Jacob's going to have just a tremendous year. I know he's going to have some breakout games. But Montarian Parks, 4 touchdown receptions. He came out and did everything we expected that he would do. Very excited about the up-front boys on the defensive line, Kanan Lane, 5 sacks. Really, I mean, that's a year for most guys, and that's a really, really good year.
Yeah, Coach, I got to stop you there because that stat line, 10 tackles, 5 of them for a loss, the 5 sacks, and a block punt for the junior. Yeah, exactly. Just unbelievable what he was able to do. But you've got to give credit to his up-front teammates, too, because, that defensive line draws. So many of those guys will draw 2 blocks that I think what you'll see as the season goes on is that, Kamen will have a big game, and then Elijah will have a big game, the junior will have a big game, and then Matthew Daniel is such a large presence right in the middle that he's always going to draw 2 bodies. And that's gonna make it fun for the way Coach Ed and Coach Carroll and Wilson move those defensive linemen around. Just creates a whole lot of opportunities. On the flip side, on the O-line, those guys, just continue to be bruisers. David and Michael Flores standing next to each other, they were very dominant on that side of the line. And then, Big Tommy Brockenmeyer on the other edge is going to be one of those guys that when the game is in hand, he is such a large presence. And we felt like some things were thrown on Tommy last week that if it were a competitive ball game, it would have been thrown. But, officials were human too, and it got to the point where bodies were, from the Broward team were flying, and sometimes I think the official was just trying to slow that pace down. Chase Stadler got his first varsity start under his belt, along with, James Brockenmeyer, and, I think that it's just going to go up from there for that crew. Dante Douglas had a good game on the edge. T. Laughlin, golly, on the play where it was a non-contact injury. I thought he was going to score, and he tried to make a cut and was playing so well at the corner spot. And then Jordan Jones, came in after that, made some good catches, made some good blocks. So we were excited about
about the way we got off. It's just I look back on a couple of games when Demetrius Knox was a junior, and he was kind of the presence that Tommy is, and the flags, flew on him. On the other side of the ball, Nico, we lost corners, which we really don't. We're not deep in that spot, and Nico came up and made just a really good tackle and got his bell rung on a D, I think, and that hurt to lose him. Our linebackers, our inside linebackers played well. Charles Sanders, he's new in the mix, and he's going to continue to get better. Jake Kramer's always a force inside, played really well. And then in secondary, when Jack went down, then they had to scramble a bit. But Christian Fell, Bobo Vettel, those guys came in and played a really good game. We had a couple breakdowns, but nothing major, and we're going to put our fingers in the dike and figure it out. But we were excited with the way the new guys played. We played so many new guys last Friday night, and we had a pretty good week of practice this week. So I think we're going to be a fun team to watch each week because they're going to get better. And the only thing that is maybe less forgiving than just the game of football might be our schedule. And it is, as I sit and look at it, it's daunting, but it's where we are. And so we're excited about the challenge. The kids are excited about it. And it also continues this Friday with Austin Regents being the colors.
48-12, the victory over the ISB Pumas. One other thing, too, and it was such a big night, and you mentioned that the offense really didn't get the quantity of snaps as normal, and a lot of that was because, the defense was always it was a game of field position because the defense was just suffocating the Pumas. But also special teams, too. Not normally do you speak in a Week 1 game about special teams standing out in a good way, but it certainly was the case last Friday night. I mean, Junior Bautista looks like he's got quite the leg for kickoffs. Nice coverage down the field on a very speedy ISB team.
Oh, I'll tell you what, we've had such good fortune with kickers here, and last year Jermaine Rucker, who had played soccer, stepped in and was extremely serviceable. This year we just took auditions, and Junior walked over to me after watching guys kick, and he goes, "Coach, I don't want to do it, but I grew up playing soccer. I can kick a ball." And so Junior's got a strong leg, super athletic guy. And then our freshman, Andrew Lynn, came out and had a couple of good kicks, and we're excited about his future as well. And so, we'll figure that stuff out and, line it up quick as we added that. We are always up tempo now. We've added up tempo after we score. And so that's a new dynamic for us. We were pleased with our special teams coming out week 1.
48-12 again, the victory, and the Saints are 1-0 to start off 2018. And we continue coming up with the Aaron Beck Coaches Show. Of course, that preview against Austin Regents in a matter of moments. But next, we dive into what's it like for the student-athletes in the recruiting process there at All Saints. Angela Corman is our special guest, and she joins us next on the Aaron Beck Coaches Show. This is the Texas 24/7 Television Network. And welcome back to the Aaron Beck Coaches Show. Coming up still, our preview of week number 2, the matchup against the Regent School of Austin and the Knights. 2 1-0 teams taken to the field this Friday. But first, a special guest time. Coach Beck, I'll let you do the introduction because this is somebody that is extremely vital there in the office of All Saints.
Well, we talk to our team daily about everyone has a role and everybody plays a role, and no one spot is more important than the other. And so I am really excited to have Angela Corman on today with us. She is the director of our college advising department, and she has been such a integral part of our program in terms of, not only academic advising with kids and setting their course loads, and, it's such a a different approach to, if I want to get into University of Texas versus Stanford versus Columbia versus Northwestern. And we've been so fortunate to have so many kids go in those directions. And Angela is the one that communicates with the colleges, she communicates with the athletic departments for our student athletes. She helps build the blueprint and the roadmap for our student athletes that want to go on to the next level. And I don't want to steal all of it. I'm here to tell everything. What's really special about our school is the way everyone works together. And the end game is, we're in the college prep business. It's about getting kids to college. Doesn't matter, leveraging academics, fine arts, athletics. Angela works with all of our students, but has really become an expert in the field of NCAA compliance and college placement to that. So without further ado, Angela, welcome.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yes, welcome to the show. And Angela, I'm surprised you had time for the show because for everybody on the campus, I mean, just athletics alone there at All Saints. Tell me, you do have some help, right?
Okay, I have an amazing team, so I'm really, really blessed to have Carol Master, who's my associate director, and Stacey Parks, who's my office manager, and they are an indispensable part of this. They keep me sane and they keep the wheels on this bus. So it's an absolute pleasure. I've had them on the team for several years, and it's even in the midst of the application fervor, which we're in the throes of as I speak, that students are rightly so very, very busy. And we work very closely and intensely with every single student, and everybody's got something different. Certainly there's an additional variable when it comes to this athletic piece. And so our partnership with Coach Beck and his team is huge, and I consider them an extension of my office in that way. We're all one big happy family in the mud together, right? Something that makes us very unique is whether a student is an athlete or musical theater or, is super focused on their own other areas of interest, solar car, community service, or leadership, you name it. They're all in it together, and the way that they collaborate and help each other out means I've got a team of hundreds. So I'm extraordinarily blessed to say that. And so sometimes you look at our office, if you're just counting the people with business cards, you're missing a lot of the other folks who pitch in.
Well, of course, this is a football-centered show, but obviously your scope, as you've already mentioned, and Coach Beck did as well, goes to every individual student, both on the athletic side, whether it be football or baseball or volleyball, or it just goes on, but also the academic side as well too. But those go so hand in hand. I mean, it's not just an athletics factory or anything, just looking at the class that graduated last year, there's Dartmouth, Ivy League schools, Division I, and the entire spectrum.
Absolutely. Both it reminds students that both the level of academics, independent of the level of play, all of that is important, and being able to navigate that not only in terms of college placement, but of team placement and offers, but to do so in such a way that we're truly teaching them how to advocate for themselves, how to negotiate with those around them, how to determine their best opportunities, how to prepare for those opportunities. And of course, the additional piece of that puzzle for students, especially those fall athletes, seniors, is they've got to time manage like never before. And there's also a lot of visibility, in terms of being recruited at whatever level. And there's a lot of attention, but sort of learning as an adolescent how best to manage that is another piece of that. That's sort of the non-quantifiable component. But having our students engaged in this process teaches them a heck of a lot more than how to throw a ball. The reality is, and many of them know this, if you look at how many of our students have placement at, again, that top level of play at those top tier institutions, that's impressive. I mean, that's certainly well above national averages. We look at a lot of data from the NCAA, we look at a lot of national averages, and our placement just on the recruiting side is huge. But beyond that, they know that not all of them are going to play on Sunday. So they've got to have a much bigger goal in mind, and they understand that this is an extraordinary opportunity that they work very hard to earn. And the grades are as important, if not more important than ever before. The maturity and the time management is as important as their vertical. And so we tell them all the time, you just have got to be certain that you're taking care of all of it. So it's a unique challenge, especially with student athletes, especially for our student artists, but they pull it off.
So whether it's the starting quarterback on the football team or, as you mentioned, somebody that's going into maybe an engineering science field on the solar car team, what would you say is maybe the common theme and thread that you tell each and every student that really is the key to all of this to get to the next level and where they want to go?
Yeah, and I told them, listen, everybody's got their own passions and talents and way of being. You've got things that to be discovered in college, but you know what you like to do, and we don't tend to look at, whether you're quarterbacking or doing something else is that different. Everybody's got their gift, their thing, their genius, their passion. The student's responsibility is to just nurture that. And of course, as a school, we tell them, we're going to give you places that you can animate that gift and have it come to life. We want you to be brave. The number one thing I tell students is, the college admission process is unlike anything they've ever done before because they're being asked really big questions about what they want to do with their life. There's this expectation. You have 100% of our students going to colleges, four-year institutions, and where they will end up is it's still a big question mark for a lot of them, but I tell them you have to have faith and you have to understand that there have been plans in place for you here and in a greater sense for a long time. But you have to, to put the sports metaphor, you have to carry the ball over the line, and that's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of passion. It's going to take a lot of effort. What we tell them is there's no ranking of the best kinds of qualities you can present to a college. There's certainly not, a right or wrong answer to doing this, but there's good and better ones. And as long as whatever it is you're passionate about, we have some students who, they understand the importance of health and wellness, but they don't necessarily love, that's just not how they express their genius. That's not something that they feel strong doing. That's okay. We want everybody to appreciate the dynamic that exists in them and to capitalize on that however they can. And to know that, again, there's no right or wrong answer. Some things get more visibility than others. You're absolutely right. I mean, some things draw crowds, some things don't. But we have students who have some really fascinating and amazing projects that they work on, and some of them are, well-known quantities like football in Texas, and some of them are things that even I'm learning more and more and more about their personal passion and hobby. And there's a way to tell your story, and the colleges want that. They just want to know who the people are behind these applications. So I tell them, whatever you've got, take care of it. Figure it out. Think about it. Keep the lines of communication open. And be ready to talk about what makes you tick. And it's totally, and what I love about all things is it's totally fine with the students if that's not the same thing that another student is into. And I love seeing how many of our student athletes are really actively, substantively engaged in the solar car team and also on the stage, at the piano, in the choir, at community service. There's just no one category everyone needs to fit into. And I think our all students really live into that and support each other. And I mean, it's cheesy, but it always comes down to protect the family for us, and it's a family, and it's a blended family, and it's one that we love, and I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world.
Are you available for private consultation as far as career advice to, say, somebody in their late 30s who is hosting a coach?
Yeah.
No, I'm just...
You know what? I will. I'm one of those people who certainly my mother knows that anybody at the church who's going to need my help, they get my email. We want to help anybody we can, but our hope too is that our students will be an ambassador of the messaging that we're sending them here, and they'll be conduits of that too. So maybe someday they can pitch in and help a kid from their church or a kid from another high school if they go.
Or an adult. I'm still pretty sure I can be a superhero. I think it's possible, so I'm working on it.
Exactly, and you go for it.
Oh, bless you. Well, thank you so much for the insight and the time. It is something, Coach Beck and I, we refer to so many times throughout the 3 years of doing this coaches show, but to get the insight direct from the source, certainly appreciate the time. The college advisor there at Fort Worth All Saints Episcopal School, Angela Corman. Thank you so much for the time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
We continue with Coach Beck back after this and our preview of the week number 2 matchup for the Saints taking on the Regent School of Austin. That coming up on the Aaron Beck Coaches Show on the Texas 24/7 Television Network. The Aaron Beck Coaches Show, live and on demand here in HD at Texas24.net. And a reminder that this Friday night, yes, you will see the game in high definition as the Saints will once again play host there at Young Field against, this time, the Week 2 opponent, the 1-0 Regent School of Austin Knights. And you can see that 7 p.m. scheduled kickoff time right here with yours truly on the call. 48-7 versus Cypress Christian out of Houston. That's what got the Regents at 1-0 on the year, and they were the runner-up last year in Division II to your next week opponent, coming up Trinity Christian out of Cedar Hill. So, Coach, as you said, I mean, as we preview this game, the competition level against the Saints just keeps going up and up that ladder.
Well, there's no doubt that the rest of our schedule for the rest of the season, if we don't play well, we're not going to be happy and with the outcome. It's starts this week against a team that I respect greatly. Their coach he's a good guy, but man, he is a really good football coach. Elements of Lou Holtz to him a little bit. I say that respectively. We've had some fun back and forth this week about the game, but when I watch them on film, they make you win the game. They're not a big risk reward team. They blitz some defensively, but not a lot. Line up quickly and line up soundly, and they're going to force you to make plays. Watching the program from afar, we're excited. It's the first time that we will have played them. If you watch the game film from last week, they're very methodical, kind of like us offensively, and very efficient and very, very, very well coached.
It's interesting you mentioned defensively. Last week they did not register a sack, so like you said, not a real risk-reward kind of team. A lot of two-way players on defense, but one of the standouts on offense, their junior quarterback as well. By the way, just got an offer from Texas Tech. Talk about good quarterbacks. Wilson Long, he's got a bit of a dual threat capability. Rushed for he rushed for about 80, 90 yards last week, threw for close to 200. So there's something there to certainly keep an eye on out of the quarterback spot.
I'm telling you, he is good, and again very efficient, and he's a veteran and has some experience under his belt, and our defensive line is going to have to help us this week. We're going to have to put the young man in some hurry up situations to help our secondary out a little bit. But we're excited about the opportunity, and we love the chance to compete against guys that are going on to the next level. And we have a whole slew of them coming our way this season. But starting out with Wilson, we're our team watching film very complimentary, very respectful of what this athlete can do.
And then they seem to use a running back by committee system, but they all seem to get yards of the 5 that carried it seemingly last week in the win over Cypress Christian. But some big targets. Their tight end is a standout, John Luke Roberts, which you're going to face some tight ends throughout the TAP schedule this year, certainly out of Prestonwood, as we know. And then I just want to say this guy's name, their leading receiver from last week, Jackson Mountain, which that sounds like a wrestler.
That's a football name right there.
Yeah.
And so they've got good players, good targets. Watch them on film. It's fun to watch. It's fun to watch teams that can score points. And these guys they can score points. And last week they played good defense too. So rolling into week 2, it's fun to have both teams who were successful in week 1, and that makes the game a little more exciting. I'm glad we're at home and not on the road. Hopefully that will play to our advantage. When I look at teams we've played over the last 2 to 3 years, when you just watch Regents fundamentally and what they do offensively and defensively and how sound their players are, this is one of the better coach groups that we're going to tangle with. When you think of other teams like Prestonwood, so well coached, but Regents falls right into that category. So we're excited about this opportunity.
And then also it's going to be big doings there at Young Field as well. I believe the fall rally will kick things off.
Yeah, fall rally, so we should have a good crowd if we're able to dodge the rain. Looks like we might have a wet football bounce around a little bit, but you know what? About 3 weeks ago, we had a practice that poured for 2 hours on us, and Clark had his best day throwing yet. So we embrace the weather. As long as there's not lightning, I think we can deal with the elements. So. Whatever happens on Friday night, we'll be ready for it.
Well, very good. I just thought of that, Coach. The last 2 seasons haven't had to deal with inclement weather on a game day much at all. In fact, the last time I can remember rain actually factoring in, it was the SPC championship just a couple of years ago.
Yeah, we've been somewhat fortunate, even though I know last fall in the state of Texas, week 1 and 2 were pretty wet down in the Houston area, but we've been fortunate. But we have gone out. We've had some rain here over the last 3 weeks or so, and we haven't dodged that. We've gone out and practiced in it. It hadn't had lightning, which is unusual. So we've got a little bit of practice experience with it, and our quarterback and receivers threw the ball well, caught the ball well in the rain. So we got that monkey off our back, and I think our kids feel pretty confident. If it's a rainy night, our offense is going to do just fine.
Well, rain or shine, it goes down at Young Field Friday night, 7 p.m., and also goes on right here at Texas24.net. You will see the entire thing live and on demand, too, right here at Texas 24/7 Television Network as the Knights of Regent School of Austin come in, 7 p.m. scheduled kickoff against Fort Worth All Saints. Coach, as always, appreciate the time.
Ken, thank you, and special shout-out to you and Roy Zephyrs, the Bearwire video. Last week's game was watched in Poland. It was watched in Europe. It's amazing when you got a team coming from out of state that is an international school where families were, and we got rave reviews. We got lots of thank yous, lots of compliments on the production. So keep up the great work on your end, and we'll try to keep scoring points and keeping people out of the end zone of ours.
Many kind thanks. And we continue it tomorrow night right here is where the game will be, Texas24.net. Of course, next week, don't miss another edition, the Week 3 edition of the Aaron Beck Coaches Show, as we'll size up the game against Trinity Christian Cedar Hill, the champs out of the Division II division of TAPS. So, hey, it just keeps going and growing. But, Coach, again, thank you so much for the time.
You bet, Ken. Thank you.
All right, and we'll catch you next week here on the Texas 24/7 Television Network.
Saints Nation, tune in next week for another edition of the Aaron Beck Coaches Show on the Texas 24/7 Television Network, live at Texas24.net. And see the Saints on the field this Friday, kickoff at 7 p.m. Central Time, live and in high definition, televised at Texas24.net. The Aaron Beck Coaches Show is hosted by Ken Buckner and produced by Roy Zephyrs. No element of this broadcast may be produced or retransmitted without the express written consent of the Texas 24/7 Television Network. Copyright 2018. PTF. Protect the family. This is the Texas 24/7 Television Network.